We are trying to design a game from absolutely nothing except the idea that I suddenly had in my brain. And we are trying to make it a complete concept by just drawing, generating new ideas, trying to figure out if things or ideas fit together or if they don't. Welcome to A Great Games design phase. I am trying to design a number of games, and in this instance, we are going to design a game I would like to call Raindance. It's an idea that I had in a near dream state. I used around 5 minutes to figure it out. So, what I would like to this game is to have my volunteer, let's call him Tunic. He's an Indian and he wants to get enough food for his family so they don't starve. But in order to do that, he will have to dance, pray for food and better weather, so his crop's gonna grow healthier. And to do this, I have already scribbled a little bit down, but the essential idea is that there's a fire in which he's going to dance around, and he will have to somehow match the gods' symbols. Um, and to do that, I was thinking that he might have some dice with some similar symbols, and then he have to match his dice to the symbols. Or it could be a bag. I'm just gonna scribble it down here. It could be a bag he has with random symbols in it, and he have to draw the symbols in order to match the ones that's out here. And if he don't get it, he's unlucky. If he gets it, he's lucky. Then he will have a field, and I'm not sure that this is the right way to do it yet. But I was thinking something around that he would have to match a certain number of symbols in order to gain one food. To get one corn, he would have to do something specific for the gods, which is the rain dancing. I have already scribbled a little bit in order to get this to look more decent, or at least closer to the design. So if we say this is the field, then in order for him to get one food, he would have to match that, and that's either by dice or by a bag. I personally better like the bag. And let's see, I have chosen to do it with A, B, C, D, H, but later in the game it would have to be real symbols, or maybe eagles or bears or something different. And then what you can see here is what I imagine to be a point system. You will need to gather a certain amount of food. There might be different types of foods. Let's call them food 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 3. And they will give off different kind of points. Yes, we are scribbling away. That is the way. Don't mind the spelling. We can always correct it later. And then this would be his field. Well, that's a P, not an F. So in order to create a certain type of food, he would have to have a specific number of symbols that he need to add to the gods fireplace. And I'm imagining that this one is kind of rotating. So you would have a narrow field, like something from here to here, and everything in this area. I'm just thinking this stuff up from the get-go. I have no idea where this is going. This is just me game designing the way that I like to do it. And I hope that Tunak will be happy, because he's gonna get some food for his family. We're gonna write his name up here. Tunak. With a very distinct K now, because I said it so. So he's gonna have a bag over here, and in that bag he's gonna draw, let's say he's gonna draw 4 tiles each game, because he needs to fill this, maybe 5 or 6, but it's a balanced system. We can look at that later. And in this bag we have a lot of different tiles that is random pulled up the bag for each player. And if he got the symbols to match these 4 symbols, he can take them and use them for his field. So he might be able to build it up as he goes. The rest of them is discarded as a failed dance system. He simply just didn't dance well enough around the fire. It's a great fire. It's very big. It's a lot bigger than him, even though you cannot see it. It's warm and comfy, and it's great for the gods. He would have to fill up his field first, and every time he fill one row of food, he's gonna gain some kind of food. Again, this is something I can look up later in a later process of the game designing, and I can figure out what the stuff really needs to be. From where I'm standing right now, he would have to it's going to be a turn-based game where players draw some tiles, and these tiles have to fit into these categories, and then we take this disc and we turn it around every one turn it goes. And if the numbers fit into here, he can take it and place it on his field, and if he get enough food, they will then again give him points. And then he can perhaps, we might even need to make this a complete round circle, because that would make sense, because then he's rain dancing his way around the fire in order to gain points, and when he completed the dance, he wins the game. Maybe we could extend the field so it becomes more complex, and we can also make an happy angry meter, so to show how many times the gods are angry with you. Maybe set up a rule that says something about that if you only get one piece out of 4 pieces, the gods are unhappy with you, and then he goes in a negative direction, and it's gonna get harder to get points from there on. Or something else might happen, maybe a meteor is gonna hit the world, which Tunak wouldn't like. I'm gonna try to cut a few pieces out and come back to you in a moment when I think I have something that works. Perfect. Not yet, at least. Thank you for the service. And then we are going to cut this out like this. I'm going to cut this out like that. And then together they should form a fire very neatly. Well, I wasn't enthusiastic with the cut, so maybe this. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of resembles fire inside. So this is the fire. And then we take this. Copy this. It is in my way though. You cannot see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna flip this over. I'm gonna cut a half circle out of that. And again, it doesn't have to be completely perfect, but the closer it is, the better it is. Oh, definitely not perfect. Maybe take a few of these edges off. Like that. Looks more like a wing, but it's okay for now. How big is the fire? The fire is like the A big. So I would like it to be a more round shape, but that's something for later. So as we said before, every time you get something of these, you can fill out your field, and the food you gain is going to give you points, and points is going to make you win. But I want to keep it like a rain dance. The fire keeps falling over. That's not great. Maybe I need more materials to handle this. So I want him to go around, like when he starts something, he has to move around the fire to simulate that Tunak here is actually dancing around the fire. So what if we combined the field with this? I'm not sure that will work, but I cannot see how he should. Maybe we should just add a bunch of points, so like he needs 50 points or something, because then I would have a lot of spaces to go around. He could also just be one big field. What do I want to do? I am not so sure. Well, maybe it's something you can help me with in the comments for next time. Maybe you have an idea of how I can showcase this in a better way, so that it feels like he's moving around the fire. I like the idea with the field. The field seems very neat. We can make a field right now, honestly. I just took a small break, and I've kind of came up with an idea of how to get them to dance around the fire. So if I extend the wheel with the letters or the symbols all the way around, then a Tunak here, he would have to get the symbols before him in order to move around in a circle of dance. And I was thinking something about maybe rewarding him with some rain that he then can use to water his crops. and then from there on he could gain some points for each type of crop he's using. So maybe that's a better system than this is. So I think I'm gonna find a tool. Well, this is all part of the process of making game design. You come up with an idea only to discard it to figure out a new idea, and perhaps that's the fun of it. At least it is for me. Let's see if I can find the paper. It's kind of hard with all the papers I have lying around. Again, a part of the process. I kind of like the idea that you somehow enter from one side and then you have this round shape. So is it possible to see the lines? I think it is. I mean, you can kind of see it. That's good enough. We're gonna add the lines now for the A, B, C, D, E, F something. So if you now have these spaces around the fireplace, I'm just gonna continue all the way around. Maybe make one here that's kind of more open. So I was thinking that they somehow enter from here. I'm just gonna add these lines to show it and then redraw the circle a bit so it's easier to see. And I mean, this is all part of Tunak's world, and therefore we kind of have to help him getting the tools to succeed against the gods that are angry with him for not doing a lot or enough to get a good harvest. So we can now re-add the ABCD. So I just accidentally added an extra space, but I mean, if these are the symbols, then the miniatures or Tunak here, he can walk around on the circle like that, and every time he comes around full circle, he gain 1 rain water. And I was thinking that he could use that to water his crops. And I still I don't dislike this idea, but I just think that it has to be bigger in some way so that we can add tiles to it. Or maybe it's just the design that's what the issue in my head. But in my head, I want them to be at least twice as big. But then I was thinking that depending on what kind of tile you have, let's say that you have corn needs a lot of water, so you have a lot of water. But it will also give you more points. So if you have 6 rain water in your crop, it will perhaps give you 6 points, or 7, or maybe it's exponential. So it will be the more rain it costs, the more points you get. That could be quite fun because it could be a challenge to see if you could gain that many waters before the others. But then again, if you keep doing it, you're gonna get more points. But there's also a tactic in just getting a 1-point system, maybe. And I was also thinking that in some cases you could add crops to your field, where you might spare yourself a move, or you gain an extra step, or maybe you can jump over B every time you get around it. So the more of these you have, the further you can get around, the faster you can get around, and the more rain you can get. And then when you have completed your field, the game stops. So that's the current theory right now. So you have this field. Let's try and keep it simple this time. Instead of that many letters, let's just say that you have 3 tiles and you need to get some kind of points out of this. Now you don't know how many points you will have because that are close behind the tile. So you need to get the tile, put it onto here, and you have to buy it from rainwater. And then you have to compete with the rest of your tribes to get your field fulfilled, and by that gaining a lot of points. And then at the end of the game, you're gonna have a point. Let's say you have 12 points, and then the person with the most point wins. At least that's my idea for now. So let's work in that direction. So I were just cutting out a small bag before. I'm thinking that we need the... Is that possible to see? It might be. So I was thinking that we needed some small tiles to draw, some random tiles. Let's see if I can find my pieces of paper. I have them here, a small line of papers. Just gonna add some letters on it. And remember, this is kind of real time. I know I took a break before, but this is kind of real time. I'm coming up with the stuff as I go along. I didn't know how this game would turn out beforehand, so, and Tunok didn't either. So he's just happy to have something to feed his family. Hopefully he's gonna get a good meal by the end of the day. This is just a prototype, so it doesn't have to be that good. I mean, I could move on and make a prototype one day, but I would need to research a lot of symbols and something that's actually respective of an Indian community. I was thinking about symbols like bears and eagles and fetters and stuff like that, just to add to the mystery of the game. I'm pretty sure Tunak would appreciate that, but if you have any comments about that, you can add that in the comment section, and I might pick up on your ideas or your advices. Now we have these, and we have Tunak, he's running around here. We have the field system. The most important part is that we need the fire. I imagine a very beautiful fire with a lot of colors, and also the firewood below here would have to be very pretty to look at, since it's a main component of the game. I'm gonna try to cut out the field. I'm gonna leave an extra line for the point system, as you see here. So let me just do that in a moment. So now we have the field over here, and we will need some of the tiles. So here we have the tiles. I'm gonna cut them up in a bigger piece. They might be smaller, but at the moment I like that they are bigger than the rest of them. I also aware that they don't quite fit the field, but we're gonna manage. Back to the pen, the mighty pen. So let's say that for 3 points, you can get something with 3 rainwaters. That seems like a good thing. And then we also need one for 1. So you have 1 rainwater, and you can get 1 crop. One type of food. I also think that we need something like something that makes us better dancers. So let's say that this will also cost 3 waters. My raindrops need some working. But then you can save a tile, save a number. Maybe. Well, maybe we do need more areas if we have to do it like that. Maybe you should be able to save 2, but it also seems a bit powerful in my head, at least with the stuff I know. So let's just say that you can save 1. Save 1 letter. And then in the last, we can take something like, let's say you get 7 points for this, but you have to use 5 rainwaters. And then there's going to be a competition between this, because you can have 3 points for 3, or you could get 7 points for 5, but you need to collect the 5 waters before you can make before anybody else can collect 6. I mean, they just need 1 more, and then they have 2 spaces on your field closed up. And if you only need 3 for 1 case, let's see, this would be 11 points. So if you have gathered this, you would have 11 points, and if you continue to gather this faster than the rest of them, you would end up saving a lot of time, maybe. So let's kind of try it out. So we've got Tunak here. He's entering the arena where he's going to pray to the gods with his almighty rain dance. He's gonna go wahoo. Then we have the random bag. We're just gonna draw 4 tiles. And what he got this time was an A, was an B, and an L, and an I. So he cannot use the L and the I's. They are out of the game, but he can use the A and B. So he can move from A to B now. And that would be his round. So one thing I would be scared of is that that could be a little bit boring in the end, because you have to get the right combination of letters, and maybe this could change. So maybe the disc wouldn't be the same every round. It could be different kind of shapes, or not shapes. It could be different, a random set of symbols. I'm just gonna type it down here. But that might be fine, because if he saves up for this, then he would be able to maybe take a letter, then he can always jump over that. We might also need to address it by saying that he gains 3 rainwater from completing the circle, and then down here he gained 1 water. And up here he might gain maybe 2, 1, 2. Let's try 2 waters. So depending on which area he's on, I'm just gonna color them up so you can see it. And again, that might also just be random. There can also be negatives on this, like you step on the tail of the bear, and the bear don't like to be stepped on, so you're gonna get thrown 2 back or something like that. That's a great idea. I kind of like that. I'm gonna write it down. Call it bear trap. Negative space. But then he's going to move around by drawing more tiles, and then he's gonna get the right letters, and he's gonna move around and draw more tiles and gonna get the right letters. We might even shorten it down so there's not that many letters, so that some of them is going to be duplicated. I'm gonna write that down also. Duplicated symbols. So that there won't be so big a range of symbols that you need to complete the circle, because it can be an endless row of combination. You can be stuck over here and you can never ever get the next symbol. You will never find the L or the M or the N. So maybe by shortening it down a bit, this will already become a much better game. And then as you run around, you're gonna gain the water. It might be small tiles with a raindrop on. Just gonna bump this up, and you can have let's go for 1 or 3. So it's 1 on one side and it's 3 on the other side. So you have something where you can turn them around and make it worth more. Then you can just save it, and then when it's your turn, you can decide that I want to buy this one for 1 crop. So you pay 1 water to the gods. Oh, that means we need to have a space for the gods. Well, it could be over the field where you can save it, or a spot over here. I'm just gonna remove the fire moment. So this is the god space. He gives rainwater and also returns it, so you can have all your tiles laying in that space. That might also suffice to be a random number or a take all situation, but that's something we can look on later. And then you're gonna end up filling up your field with the 12 or 16 tiles, and when you have finished all your tiles up, the game ends. You're the first one to complete your field, and the rest will get the last turn to run around and see if they can finish also, and then it's all about the points. So you could have half a field but enough points to win the game and become the chieftain, but if you haven't completed the field, you haven't breastfed your family and they would be unhappy, or maybe your god would be unhappy. So I think that's kind of completing the game as it is right now. It would need to have it would need to be test played a few times, and it would need to be tweaked. Of course, you can help me with that. It's a very simple game, honestly, and that's the point of it. And it's also supposed to be very fun. And then maybe later we could add more to the game, like happy and angry barometer to the god space. It could be something. I'm gonna remove the fire again. It's kind of annoying, honestly. Like here, where this is negative and this is plus. So here he's happy, and here he's angry. And that could be based on which tiles you draw. So maybe adding up a box here where you place the negative, the tiles that you couldn't use, and maybe add the positive. Oh, it's the other way around. So down here you could add the tiles that you don't use, and if they get to a certain point, he's gonna get angry and move a water away or something. But it could also be something like a meteor is hitting the area. What are you gonna do if the god gets angry? Or it could be a volcano that interrupts, or there could be many additions you can add to this game. And if you have any ideas or any things that you want to add, then add them in the comments and I'm gonna come back to it later. Thank you for watching.